A recent study showed that 50% of all adults in California have roommates. 50%.
That's incredible.
Shocking. Most of my coworkers debate on roommate or not, right? You hear that from friends.
I have one, although it may not be with a stranger. I roommate with my mom and my brother.
Right.
You roommate with your mom and brother.
Let me clarify that. The study showed that their roommates were not relatives. So I want to make sure we clarify they're not relatives.
I mean, it's
hard.
shocking.
It doesn't
Rent's
surprise me.
expensive.
Yeah. I mean, I considered that when we were separating. I thought, how can I make ends meet? And I thought about putting an ad out to roommate with another single mom who had kids.
Oh, okay.
And so that was out there for me.
But are you sure you want to be around somebody else's kids?
You know, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because rent is so expensive in California, and especially in Los Angeles, you kind of have to take whatever roommate and you can and kind of accommodate that, because there is just, I mean, finding a vacancy apartment and being able to afford it, you can't.
Someone was telling me that when you rent, you're supposed to take 1/3 of your rent as opposed to, or your income should be 1/3 of your rent.
Right. Exactly.
But I have, in the last 10 years, have not lived in a place where my rent is at least 50% of what I make.
Okay, but you know what, you ladies, I kind of looked at it from a different perspective, and I'm sorry, I thought that people are not getting married anymore, right? That's kind of the perspective that I took, that people are not wanting to, you know, come in a relationship. I guess I shouldn't say that, but they just want to live together. I mean,
well, I know couples who live together because they jump in too soon because they want to save money on rent. And they end up moving
that's the way to look at it.
Can I just say though, I had a crazy roommate.
I'm not saying
everybody has
she had one purple eye and one black eye. And I was totally serious. And she was crazy. And ever since then,
and you still moved in with her.
No, she was paying the rent. She was paying the rent. But after that, I vowed to not live with anybody else until I got married.
So Danielle, do you think people are doing it for economic reasons?
That's for everyone that I know. That's why they're doing it. I mean, I live in the guts of LA, so the rent is just astronomical. I mean, you know, but I'm proud of people for doing it, being fiscally responsible, being honest with themselves.
Well, I mean, think about New York. I mean, how many times I haven't heard of anybody in New York, unless they're married, they're doing really well, that don't live with 3 or 4 other people, and they're in
who are not family.
Yeah, or and there's space is probably a quarter of what we have out here.
But Natalie, you just came back to California, so what?
Oh, I didn't want a roommate.
Thank you. This is one on the other side.
Wait, so you
don't want a roommate? Why did
I mean, I get it. I hear it a lot. I had a tough time kind of deciding if I want one or not, but I got lucky. I found a good place, and
But how do you even find a roommate? Like, do you put in an ad or something?
I was thinking about it when I moved to Nebraska. I was like, I don't know anybody out there, so should I get a roommate? I reached out to a few Craigslist people.
You know what?
Bad idea.
Bad idea.
Terrible idea. Learned very quickly. Like, I just don't. I mean, some people do that and it works for them. That's totally fine. I have heard good stories, but I didn't want that.
Seeing that these roommates are not related, how do you find a roommate these days?
Some people just get lucky.
Word of mouth, usually. I mean, some people use Facebook, and they're like, hey, you know, my friend is looking for so-and-so, you know, is anybody interested? I mean, there is Craigslist. I've lived with a couple of roommates, like when I was in college.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I Craiglisted it once a long time ago, and it was not a good scenario.
Really?
I mean, it was just...
Oh my gosh, when I first got to college, I got a roommate. I got her for a roommate service. We didn't have the internet back then. When I came home, honest to goodness, she had a black voodoo painted on the back of the door. What? It was like a black voodoo painted on the back of the door. Some holy water. And I was having a party, and she ate up everything. And at that time, I moved home. I moved out. I went home to save money.
So she had a purple eye and a black eye.
But here's an interesting twist. I mean, why would someone choose to go out and get a roommate versus staying at home?
Because
you want
staying home with their parents
as well.
Well, that's a static. A lot of young people between the ages of 35 and
be
under
at home with their parents. They need to go out. And
because you're coming upon adults.
Stacey, listen, though, it is a scientific fact now that a lot of adults between the ages of 35 and under are living at home with their parents.
They are. You know, and I would say that living at home with my mom.
The economy is not that great.
The economy isn't, a wonderful woman. But I would like for my mom to.
But wouldn't you pick that over living with a stranger?
I'm not making a judgment about it, you guys.
Absolutely. I would pick living with my mom over a stranger.
I'm not making a judgment about it, but what I am saying is there's a different side to look at. If you're staying at home to save money, that's one thing. But parents, we make it too comfortable for you. We make it too comfortable. Usually adult, we don't have you pay rent because I had a weigh-in question and you never leave.
Make it uncomfortable.
Make it uncomfortable. Stop accommodating.
My baby gonna stay with me for a long time.
I wanted to be a grown-up. I wanted to move out.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to move out too, but straight out of college, I came back home after graduating.
Well, now they're gonna give you $15 an hour, so you might be able to move out, huh?
I don't know that.
Let's talk about that because
wait a minute. Well, because I know you have a lot to say about that. So, but I don't know. We can talk about this forever. We'll be right back with more Everyway Woman. I don't think that adults